Welcome everybody. Good to have you. Full house. Today is going to be an overview. I'm not going to go into super depth because each one of these aspects that we talk about investing in real estate, if you really want to get into it, and you really want to focus on it, there's a lot of depth to any one aspect. So today we're going to go over a good overview of it. I'm going to cover certain parts of it, answer some questions, give you some formulas to do some analyzation, so you know how to pick out what you want to focus on if this is what you want to do. And any questions you've got, since we're gonna, I don't know, feel free to ask questions during, feel free to ask questions during, we'll answer them as best we can. And then if it's more in depth than we want to go into class, we'll set up a time afterwards, okay? So, glad you're all here, nice to have you. Flips, holds, and building, exciting. So, first question, there are 4 basic areas in real estate where you can, and you kind of understand this, where you can make investment type money from, okay? The first one is in appreciation. Now appreciation, we'll go into that in depth. There's also cash flow income. Then you have real estate related income. Real estate related income, we'll go into that, is people who are in the business of real estate and making money from it. And then the ancillary real estate investment income comes from businesses within a real estate investment business. We're not going to really cover the bottom 2. We're mainly going to appreciate on the first 2. So let's go into it. Appreciation. You would think everybody would know that, but the fact is, let's get a definition. When property increases in value due to a change in the real estate market, the land around your property becomes scarcer for a visitor, like when a major shopping center is built next door or upgrades you put into your real estate, that can make it more attractive to potential buyers and renters. Real estate appreciation is a tricky game. It's riskier than investing for cash flow. So standard appreciation is the up cycle, the real estate cycle, right? Everybody knows, we understand the up cycle. We've been in it now for 5 years now, 6 years now. How long have we been in an up cycle in this market? 6 years?
7, 8, 9, 7.
7, okay, close to 7 years. Average real estate cycles, by the way, tend to pop at 7. They do. You don't usually go much longer than 7. Now, certain things in your market will make that change. For example, in this market, you have such a job demand, such a huge demand for high-paying jobs, okay, and it's still out there. It's not like the job market's dwindling. There are something like, last I checked, which was 7 or 8 months ago, there are 74,000 unfilled jobs in this area that all pay over $85,000 a year. Yeah, that's a lot. Although in King County, you're officially, I saw this, in King County you are officially not in poverty, but you can't afford anything if you make less than 100 and something thousand a year. One of the few areas in the country where you're actually considered in the low income if you make 100,000 a year. Okay? That's Bellevue. There you go. Yeah, so it's all relative to your markets, but appreciation is when the value goes up. You know, a lot of things can do that, and we'll talk a little bit about that. One of the things to keep in mind in appreciation, it's cycle driven. It can also be, appreciation can also be driven by how you increase the value of a particular property. And appreciation works in any type of real estate. Multifamily, single family, commercial, it doesn't matter. You can make anything grow in value that you make grow in value, that's appreciation. Also, a thing to remember, multifamily, okay, so you've got single family, multifamily, commercial, and light industrial. Each one has a cycle. You have the up, the flat at the top, the dive, and the flat on the bottom. 9 years ago, we were all at the flat on the bottom. Nothing was moving here. Those of you who were still in real estate 9 years ago. And houses, you were buying houses in King County, you're buying houses in Bellevue here for 250 to 300,000. Yeah, 9 years ago. You can find them. They're out here. Okay, so appreciation is the drive, the market drive. Other things can drive it too. Remember this: single family cycle and the commercial cycle tends to lag about 2 to 3 years behind the residential cycle. So when the residential cycle starts to dive, if you understand the commercial business and you just move over to commercial, you still have 2 to 3 good years of appreciation. Yes.
In my experience, a healthy, good appreciation is about 2.5%.
Yeah.
That's, you know that the market's healthy, nothing to worry about. You know, right now we're at 6, 7, 8% gains. And when it happens like that for a continual time, you know, they say there could be a bubble coming up. And there might be one across the US, but it's definitely not gonna hit here in the Northwest. We're like, our economy is way too strong. But across the US, like a lot of people are kind of getting ready for another market correction.
So, Randall's point is very valid. Again, like I said, it's how long has it gone up? If you straight line California, you'll love this. You go to 1900 and you go to 2010 and you pull the line straight, California appreciated at 5% per year. Average. Up here is 4.25%. We've appreciated 4.25% over the 110-year straight line. That's healthy. You won't blow up. You start to get over 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, and like the bubble start. So the other thing to remember though, when I'll keep moving on this, is that you got commercial 2 to 3 years behind. Light industrial, like the warehouse spaces like this, the rentals and things, tend to lag about 1 to 2 years behind commercial. So your residential can be diving, and your commercial can be diving, and this stuff right here is still going up. And then multifamily tends to work in opposition to regular single-family housing. Why would that be? Because when houses are going up in value, people are buying. When houses start going down in value and foreclosures start happening, people go over and rent, drive the rental market. Okay? Now there's some variation, but those are the cycles. Those are your 4 basic real estate that you're going to work with in your life. And just remember, multifamily works on the opposite. So if housing tends to be going up, multifamily tends to generally be going down. We're a little off right now, but not by much. And commercial and light industrial, let me get that out there. Boom. Light industrial tends to be 1 to 2 years behind commercial. Okay? So, because there's lots of things to work on. So it's depreciation. Cash flow. Buying a real estate property such as an apartment building and operating it so you can collect a stream of income from rent, which is the money pays tenant to use your property for a specific amount of time. Cash flow income can be generated from well-run storage units, car washes, apartment buildings, office buildings, rental houses, many things. These little industrial complexes in here, businesses, are an amazing moneymaker. You just don't think of it. We don't think of that because nobody in this room really functions on the industrial side. We really don't. A couple of us have. But overall, even I don't really get into it much. It's okay. However, it's a great moneymaker. That's cash flow. Continual stream of income. You will get appreciation hopefully over time. However, your interest is cash flow. And in your long-term growth, this is probably the best place for you to function, is in cash flow income. You want to build wealth. Buy something low 20 years ago. Okay? So just before I came here, I had a client refinance their house in Beverly Hills. Okay? About a $2.3 million home. Older gentleman, he's 80-something. Wanted to refinance, pull a little money out. Tried to talk him into reverse mortgage. Didn't want to do it, just wanted cash. Okay. He bought it in 1963 and paid 10 grand for that house. $10,000 in 63. Now, mind you, it's been 30, 60 years, but it's gone up considerably. Long-term cash flow, long-term, is a great place to work. And like I said, we're going to go into the 2 main sources for you, but let's understand this. So, related to specialists in real estate industry such as real estate brokers. You make money on commissions, right? Okay? You're buying and selling a property, or real estate management companies to keep a percentage of rent in exchange for running daily operations of a property. Type of real estate related income is easy to understand. For example, hotel management companies get anywhere from 5% to 8%. 5 is pretty standard. So if I'm managing, for example, I may be managing 50 Marriotts for the Marriott Corporation. I may have a management company that literally takes over and runs an operation. And after all expenses, I get to keep 5%. It's good business. It may be something you have an interest in. It's just not something most of us are really going to do. But realize it's there and that it's part of it. okay? And then the other piece is the ancillary real estate investment income. That's an easy one. Anybody ever been in an apartment complex where you had to go downstairs to the vent to the laundry room? Do your laundry? You ever seen those? Okay, got that? Well, somebody usually, either the apartment complex or many times an outside company actually owns that. And the vending machines, they actually own that. So you've got a business inside a business, and you're renting inside that business. You're working inside a business, a real estate-based business, okay? And that's the inside. We're not gonna focus on that today because that's not like the big one. Shares up there, yes, guys, we're running on shares already. Okay? We're gonna focus, as I said, on the first two, which is the appreciation and cash flow. But I want you to understand that there's a business here, okay? The building we were in before this, okay? Somebody had a contract for all the communications inside of it. I've got a good friend that for years, he's in Salt Lake. He ran the phone lines and phone systems in commercial office buildings. He had like 80 different buildings where he owned the entire communication system inside it. So everybody had to go through him and what he had. It was a great business. He's making 2 or 3 million a year in pure profit. Okay? It's just kind of a business in a business. So, with that said, here's today. We're going to focus on these. Flips, holds, and building and construction. We're going to talk a little bit about how to find a flip, how to analyze it, and how to structure it. Okay? We're also going to do the same thing with holding, types of long-term holds. How to find the properties and how to analyze the properties. Then we're going to talk a lot about pros and cons of building, how to locate building opportunities, and how to analyze the new construction. How many of you in here have I shown, like one, how to find shovel-ready projects? Raise your hand. Anybody? One. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to let it out of the bag, okay? I gave him a head start about 2 weeks ago, okay? There's inside your MLS, there is a place to find a permit-ready, shovel-ready building right now. You can just step right into, analyze if it's right, buy it, have it built, and make a profit. They're sitting there waiting for people to find it. So we're going to cover that today. Questions? Thoughts? Nothing. Awesome. Good. So, flips. Let's talk about flips. Okay. Flipping real estate can be accomplished in any type of real estate that includes the building. So you've got to have, remember, ground and building. And technically, you can actually flip ground. Get that? It's called development. Unless you've got a really strong stomach and a really strong backbone and really good financials behind you, I suggest you stay out of developing property. Because it's going to take you 2 to 3 years per property to get it from point A to point B. You're going to hope the market's still in position when you get there, and many times it's not. And lots of people just die in that business. They literally just die in that. So, hold on, this is killing me, I can't hear. There you go. However, commercial, multifamily, industrial, there are niches, different types of businesses. Marinas can be flipped. Anything can be flipped that's got a building attached to it of some sort. Okay? It's just a matter of where you're going to focus. Single-family residences, and then we're going to focus on single-family residences for your flips. Apartments are good to flip too. Just so you know, apartments are really good to flip. You buy, because apartments come in categories called A, B, C, and D. Okay, an A apartment is a newer apartment, all the amenities, all the luxuries, and a really nice apartment, okay? You get the very best capitalization rate on those. A B is a good apartment. It might not have all the amenities, definitely needs a little cosmetic work, things like that. C's tend to be lack of amenities and a lot of work. And D's are, well, bottom of the barrel. Okay, a lot of work on those. Okay, however, there's money. Anytime you can take an apartment and move it from one category to the next, you increase the value significantly. And apartments, for example, there she is in the back. Hi. We have, Vanessa and I have a little apartment building. It's actually a condominium building, right? With 6 condos in it, which are being sold as apartments. And in the process of listing it to Monday, we have, and she doesn't realize this because she went to Mexico. She had a great time in Mexico. Come on, say yes. Anyway, we have 2 offers on the table and 19 other interested parties in that little apartment complex. 19
Like a date.
other interested parties in that little apartment complex. Yeah, I'll share a block, I hope. You didn't send any pictures though, okay? So we have this, it's sitting there, that's how popular it is. You can take that type of building and you can flip it also. There's a lot you can do for flipping an apartment. However, the easiest to understand, the easiest not to die while doing financially, is going to be single family. Okay? So, here's what you're going to need. This is a list you need to understand. Write it down, get a copy of this, because these are things you must have. Yes?
Just a question.
Now, mind you, remember, yeah, right?
Oh, no worries. We're going to get a copy of the slides, or should we just keep taking notes right now?
Say it again.
Can we get a copy of these slides?
Oh, absolutely. He's going to film this. He's going to send you a copy of me babbling, and then we're going to send you a copy of this too.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank
you. You bet. And then if you don't want to listen to me babble, just take this and read through it, right? There you go. So, okay, you need, this is probably the most important piece. You need a great relationship with a builder. Not a new home builder. A specialist who specializes in rehabbing and flipping properties. Okay? There are different types of builders, they do different things. This is critical. This guy will make, or woman will make or break you. Okay? So you gotta develop a good relationship, somebody you trust, somebody with experience, somebody who isn't going to pillage you. Now there's 2 ways to do it. You take a general contractor, and they have all their subcontractors, or if you want to manage it yourself and save that extra piece of the problem, because a general contractor is going to make 10% on whatever the project is. A general contractor making more than 10%, man, they better be exceptional at certain things, really exceptional, or get a different one. 10% is acceptable, exceptional, acceptable. Boy, I'm having a hard time today. Acceptable, that's called a profit margin. You can manage them yourself, but you got to know what you're doing. Okay? So, a good engineer architect, if you'll be doing any structural work, when you flip properties, if you're going to need permitting, that means a roof, electrical, plumbing, foundational work of any sort, you're going to need permits. Okay? If you're doing cosmetic things, that's one thing. Sometimes you can move a wall inside a building too, a house, without having to get it permitted. But as soon as it becomes a load-bearing wall, like you want to open up the kitchen, take out that wall, so it opens up the living room, and you have to stick a beam across it, you now have to have a permit. That means you need an engineer and/or architect. A lot of times your contractor will have these contacts. I highly suggest that you develop your own relationships. Okay? In San Diego, I had an architect that would completely, we were doing flips where we were buying functionally obsolete houses. So that's anything less than a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, right? So if it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 2-car carport, which is my favorite, I love those houses. Those are so great. Somebody has to design the extra 500 square foot we're gonna put on it. Somebody has to design and get permitted the extra work you're going to do. Now down there, my architect would cost me $5,000. I could take these little houses, and in 10 days, he would have it completely drawn, ready to go for permits. And then we'd go into Escondido, San Diego County, some of the cities that would take 2 to 3 weeks to get your permits. So we had the system down. We just had the system down. Good architect, good, and he knew how to get the permits. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you guys need contacts for architects, I got 2 pretty reasonable price ones. It's going to be about $2,000 or $3,000 for a simple draw up, but that's what you're going to be looking for if you're talking about. So, for example, I just bought a rental in Kent, and we wanted to build 3 extra bedrooms in the basement, and to draw that up, someone charges $2,500 to draw that up. But we had to take the paperwork to the city ourselves and pay the city like, I think it was like $700 to get that permit, and it took about 3 to 4 weeks. So that's so if you guys, I got 2. Well, what I'll do is I'll probably send out the email with the drawing with their contact, and you guys can reach out to them also.
Think about this. Let's take what he's got. Ken, you got a 1,200 square foot home with an unfinished basement, right? Full basement, it's unfinished. It doesn't count as square feet because it's unfinished. Now I got 1,200 square feet. So I'm gonna put in a bathroom downstairs and 3 bedrooms and an open room, whatever you wanna put, right? Well, now I suddenly have in Kent a 2,400 square foot home. You're permitted, and you've added the extra square footage, and it's nice, go ahead.
Our challenge with that home was, I wish I bought it from someone that finished the basement, but they didn't get permits to finish the basement. So we don't know if they did it right. So when I went in to try to build those 3 rooms, the city said, well, we gotta check their work. I was like, well, it looks good. They're like, well, we gotta check it. So they had to cut the holes in the walls to make sure that the drywall is the right length. But they had to do a bunch of stuff to check their work, and then they got to my 3 rooms. So just be careful, you guys are working on homes or listing homes where someone didn't get the permits to do the work. And if you want to get it permitted, the city's going to check your work and their work. So it's kind of another hurdle to jump through.
So a good architect engineer usually knows the cities, knows these people. They usually have established relationships. You will find, though, that most of them function inside certain geographical areas. They really do. You get a really good person down in, I don't know, Federal Way, works down in Rural, all that. Trying to get them to come up to Bothell is next to impossible. They don't have the relationships. So sometimes you have to kind of look around. The other thing that you want to do, if you're going to flip, and it's not up here, but the other thing, solid understanding of your market. See, I didn't get the name, it's you market, it's supposed to be your market. One of the things that you really need to understand is what is the permitting timeline for each city you're going to work in, or county. This is critical. Critical. For example, in King County, as of 2 years ago when we were checking, in King County, if you have to replace a deck, replace it, average is 9 months to get a permit for the deck. So you get everything else done in 2 weeks, but that deck's 9 months. So you can't tear it off without getting permitting, and you can't replace it without getting permitting, and suddenly you can get everything else done, you can't sell it. See what I'm saying? You might not want to in King County, or you might want to check. Some cities might be faster, some might be slower.
Seattle's really slow right now.
What's that?
Seattle is really slow because everybody's building.
Oh yeah.
So some people
So get
avoid
to
Seattle.
know your cities. And the way you know how to get to know your cities, this is where your understanding of your market is. You call the building department. And I'll give you a secret to the building department. Walk in the door. Walk in the door. Everybody tries to call. They're trying to get through people just as fast as they can get through. They're trying to answer as short a question as they can. If I'm standing in front of you, Kent, you're on the other side of the counter, you have to stop and talk to me.
Yeah.
And that's where you find a lot of the real information. You start to develop a relationship with the person on the other side of that counter. You get to know them as a person. Critical, it really is if you're going to work inside an area. And I learned this back when I was 16 years old. I needed a permit, if I was in login at the time, I needed a permit to open up a lot, do some things, and I walked into the county and I was just absolutely, I'm completely stupid at this point. And there was a guy wanting the same type of permit for his property who was standing there arguing with the lady behind the counter when I walked in. They were just going back and forth. And I kind of hear, and the lady says, "Can I help you, honey?" And she looked kind of, right? And I said, "Yeah, I feel really stupid. I'm kind of lost. I'm not sure what I'm," and she goes, no, what can I do for you? And I told her what I needed, and I let her be the expert. And I noticed that 45 minutes later, I walked out with my permit, and the guy who wanted the same type of permit was still arguing with the lady on the other side of the counter. And a light bulb went off. Treat people with respect. Get to know them. Okay?
They're actually pretty helpful. A lot of them are pretty helpful.
Oh yeah.
They'll tell you, like, you come in knowing nothing, they'll walk you through how to do something in like half an hour because it benefits them for you to do it right, so they don't have to fix your mistakes. So they're really helpful. Just show up and, or even call.
A lot of times you go in, it's like when people say, "Oh, I hate the IRS. Oh, they're horrible." You know what? It's a person who's on the other side. When you call up the IRS and you got an issue and you talk to them, I found them to be extremely helpful. They want their money, but they're very helpful. Yes.
Are there different offices for building permits, or is there one location?
Great question. Every county has their own.
Yep.
Okay.
So
There's some generalities.
Is it downtown Seattle then?
well, King County, downtown Seattle,
Okay.
and then
Seattle.
Kent's in downtown Kent. Like it's always like in the city hall, where the city halls are usually.
Oh, so it's county, but also maybe like.
Yeah,
so there's one
in Seattle, there's the King County Administration Building. That's for King County stuff, and then they got the Seattle
Okay.
Permit Center
Oh,
in
for
that
like stuff with
building.
Kent.
Kent will be depending if it's City of Kent, then you just go to Kent
Oh, I
City
see.
Hall. Yeah,
Okay.
and then some stuff that's incorporated, you go to King County.
Okay.
But you can find in the the property records, see who's the
Is there one
jurisdiction.
that's easier to work with than the other? I would assume the downtown Seattle one.
Downtown,
Super busy.
yeah, Seattle is super long because they're busy, and then I heard King County
To
is
help him a little bit
just
here,
as long.
this is what I'm trying to say. You gotta get to know each city in each county. You actually, I mean, they're a little different.
Yeah.
Everyone's a little different. General laws are the same, but each county has certain things they want. Certain counties will have certain, I'll give you one in California. Most of California is this. If I expand a house by more than 500 square feet, okay, I get reassessed for water, sewer, schools, everything. It's about a $50,000 reassessment. So if I take that 1,200 square foot, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 2-car carport, right? I can wrap that carport for about $8 a square foot, $10 a square foot, make a garage. I can add 500 square feet for about 100, 110 a square foot, right? But the second and by the way, down there, that $100 a square foot, I'm getting $350 to $450 a square foot for. So that's where your profit's built into that extra, right? It offsets the rest of your rehab. You'll make 80 to 100,000 per flip down there on those, and you can find those up here. But the second I go to 501 square feet, I get completely reassessed. There's a $50,000 to $60,000 bill that comes with it. Just sucks your, yeah, so you need to get to know. Now, not all of them are like that. Torrance, for example, Torrance is actually, they just have a factor per square foot you add. Literally, you get reassessed from 1 square foot all the way up, but it's a lot less than the rest of the area. So get to know your cities, get to know your counties. Each one's got slightly different. This is where a good architect, engineer, is going to help you because usually they know. Yes, Rango?
I got a horror story. And I think we learn a lot by people's mistakes, right? And that's sometimes you make your own mistakes, and that's how you learn. But that house in Kent that I bought 2 houses down, so I was talking to the city, and they were saying, yeah, that house right there, they're in real big trouble. I was like, why? Why did they stop working? So basically, there's like yellow tape all over it saying you gotta stop working or it's illegal. It's dangerous to go inside. So what happened was the flipper, he's an investor, he bought the house and he got a pretty good deal on the house, but the old owner built like 1/3 of a whole extra wing to the back of the house. And it looks pretty flimsy. It looks like, you can tell it kind of wasn't done right. So basically, they're gonna have them tear down the whole 1/3 of the house and get permits to do it all over. Now, as a flipper, you're using hard money. So basically, that deal's probably gonna go bankrupt just because of that one mistake of.
We're going to show you how to calculate that.
Yeah, so so I don't know what's gonna happen to with the house. And that's what we were gonna do with that house in Kent. We're gonna do the work without the permits to speed it along and get the renters in there. But thank God I didn't because, yeah, later on if they catch you, they can do the same thing, kick out all my tenants and have me do the work over. And we didn't want that because we were doing a sober living house, right? So it's for women and children. So you got all these women and children going through there all the time. You know somebody's gonna call the city and the cops like, hey, why are all these people in this house that didn't, they looked a little, like they're trying to get back on top, right? So I knew I would have got called out. But that's what happened to the neighbor, and it's probably going to go, probably the hard money lender is going to foreclose on it because they can't do any work on it. No one's going to buy it the way it is. So just be very careful with work that's not permitted.
Here's one. Yesterday I went to a listing and their property manager was there. And what I find out when I get there, she's really not a property manager, she's an accountant. She's just doing it because they're friends. Now this house is 990 square feet and it's in not West Seattle, but Seattle down and over a little bit, not quite that general area. Normandy Park? Normandy? Okay, it's in that area. It has a 500 square foot addition to the back that has been on it and has been sold once or twice since '99, right? So you would think it's permitted. We don't know. The owners don't have permits, so we're getting it checked right now. Because here's the thing, that house in its current condition, it's gonna sell for about $300. Really what it's gonna sell for. Maybe $320, in that range, right? You've got, if that back end's there, you've got about 65 to 75, maybe 80 in complete rehab, and then you will have a $525,000 to $540,000 home. Are the numbers there? They might be. We've got to see. But what if that 500 square feet that's been sold twice, is on the records, and actually is not permitted? The city will come in and make you tear it down.
If they find out.
If they find out. But again,
Someone rat you out.
your buyer's got to know this, right? I mean, somewhere along the line, okay, classic, California, pool house. I've told you this, Claremont Mesa, Kearney Mesa, down in San Diego. We sold a house, I didn't, I had nothing to do with it, but one of my brokers or agents sold a house.
Sorry to interrupt you real fast. In that situation, Ronnie, what should you do? You have to make sure you find out if it was permitted or not.
I am.
Before you move forward.
I am.
Well, you
I'm
can-
checking, I'm having Kerry check on it.
You can still list it. It just, you gotta be very careful on, don't add that extra square footage to the listing.
Until
Right,
you know.
Until you know. And you can look at the tax ID, and then you can see the square footage listed on tax ID, and then sometime we'll say unfinished square footage. So then that's probably that space that they finished. And then when you're listing it, just put on the age remarks, home is actually another 500 square feet. And when you get there, you're gonna see an extra room. Buyer to verify to
Yes.
buyer
That is
satisfaction.
what you do if you're selling it.
But
What's
yeah.
weird, like JT's house,
Uh-huh.
in the real list, it says 21 something, but that garage is unpermitted, but it's weird, it says it in real list.
Yeah.
But on other MLS, it says 1560. So like, you get different information, like,
Yeah, I
what do
had
you
a
trust?
situation where I listed my friend's house and then had a finished basement, and then all the square footage and the rooms were all correct or just matched up with what real list in King County. And then I looked, and then it happened when they got an inspection. There was a bedroom downstairs, but it didn't have a proper egress.
So it wasn't
So then it
permitted.
shouldn't have been a third bedroom because it's a 3-2, 3-bedroom,
Too bad.
too bad home. It's listed in King County as well, but that wasn't a
Right.
proper bedroom. And then there was no permits on it or anything. Then I looked back, there's no permits. I think they're just pulling stuff because it's got sold twice prior to that. And then at first it was 2-1, and then somebody finished finished the basement, added another bedroom and a bathroom, and then all of a sudden it just went to, and then the county records just took it off the MLS, I think, because there's no records of it, of any other
It
work
slipped
being
in
done.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
and then
that's
they
a-
just put it off the MLS, I believe.
The negative part of that is if you're listing it, you gotta list it as a 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
No, the county records showed 3-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just
If
put
it
3-2.
says
I was like,
if county says
yeah.
3-2,
So I just
it's
followed
okay to
the
go
county record,
Suddenly,
yeah.
suddenly, now mind you, suddenly, the last time it was sold, maybe it was a 3-2 and nobody did the work. Now you're telling him you have to list it as a 2-1, and that value just went down.
Yeah, no, we got it listed at 3-2, and then during the inspection, we called it
There you
out.
go.
We had to negotiate
Right.
something.
And if you're lucky, you can get it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, we got
But
it
here's the
done.
thing, without proper egress and ingress into that bedroom, it can no longer be called
Yeah.
a bedroom, because here's what happens. And none of you want this,
Yeah,
but here's,
so
I'm gonna give you
small.
an ugly. This is an ugly. You sell that house with a 3-2 to your client. You take your client and buy it. 6 months later, a fire happens, and the kid who's in that basement bedroom can't get out. You wanna live with that? I don't. I don't wanna live with it. Okay? I do the work for my buyers. I hunt and trap for my buyers. That is not what you want to go through. Make sure when you're involved in it that you get clarity and that you lay things out correctly. County shows this, realist shows this, it's actually this, buyer to verify all on their own. Make sure. And if you get it permitted, a lot of times you can get things permitted. It just takes a little extra time and extra money.
A lot of the things other than,
There you go.
like if we do
So
like
let's
structural
jump,
stuff.
because we can be here forever on this one. That's what I'm trying to say. These are great things. Depth will come. You've got to have tight analyzation skills for each opportunity. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then you better have really good access to money. Okay? And there's lots of ways to do it. Banks, mortgage brokers, raise your hand in the back, raise your hand. Don't worry, my mortgage brokers, bankers, there you go. You guys can help you. Private money, and then your own personal investors or your own bankroll. Okay, a lot of ways to find it. You must have those to pull triggers. Okay, so let's jump for a second and let's look at analyzing. Okay, how to analyze a deal. I wish I had done this in a better light because for whatever reason I can't read this. So I'm going to read it to you. Start with the end in mind. How much will the finished property sell for, or what is your after repair value? This is the step where your profitability is made or lost, is before you ever buy the house. Nobody makes money when they sell a flip. You are never gonna make money when you sell a flip. You're gonna make it when you buy it. That's it. Because I can't tell you the number of times it'll go for 600,000. And you base everything on 600,000, it goes for 540. Oh, your hard money lender is upset because they didn't get any, everybody's in. Your money is made in the buy 100% of the time. You must analyze it beforehand, and you better be brutal on your after repair value. After repair value, ARV, is what hard money lenders, people who fund flips look at. They want to know a solid comp for what this house is going to be. I suggest if you're doing it, don't push high, stay a little on the low side of what you think that value is going to be. Honestly, you have to do that. Have your contractor then, once you get it, I got a house, right? And I'm going to show you an example in a second. I got a house, I think it's going to be worth 600. So now I have to have my contractor go in, if you don't know how to do this, and give you a bid for everything you want done. Okay? And they have to give you a timeline. Okay? And that should include the permitting if necessary. I work with contractors, and my contracts have what's called timeline clauses in them. Okay? So they're guaranteeing the work will be done in X period of time. Okay? If not, you can get strung out. Now you got hard money lenders you're working with, you got all these other things you're working with, and all of a sudden that contractor takes 5 extra months. You're dead. You really would, you're not making anything, you may lose. So that's important. Then you want to review the cost of your money. Origination and carrying cost, or your interest rate. Yes?
Timeline clause, are there penalties towards the contractor, or what's the
Say it again.
consequences? Timeline clause?
I'll take it.
Yeah, so yeah, if you guys are gonna be getting into this business, have contracts with your contractors. And there's some penalties. I mean, whatever the penalties you put in there, if they don't hit it on time. And definitely don't give them all the money up front.
No,
I hear,
never.
oh my God, I hear contractors are notorious for taking it all and then not finishing the job at the end and then coming back for you with more money. So you want to set out the payout like in probably 2 or 3 phases, and say at the end of phase 1, if you get up to finishing the floors and the drywall, then I'll give you money for phase 2. And if you don't, then you're going to get charged 10% or something.
So
You know,
and
of
the
whatever
way to
that
do
money
this,
is.
the way to do, I use a funds control companies, funds control. ProBuilt, anybody know who ProBuilt is?
Yeah.
ProBuilt's owned by Fidelity. ProBuilt was part of Dixie Line Lumber. And they created a funds control company. Inspections, everything. So this is how I've been doing stuff in Florida. I was living in Salt Lake. So investors buy it, we've got the bid. All the funds go into the funds control company. They disperse the first disbursement to the contractor. Contractor goes through a phase. It's 4 phases in this case. First phase is done, they call in, inspector comes out the next day. Everything's done according to what's supposed to be. They check off. They send me the report, them the report, and the funds control report. I authorize it. Next phase goes out. Okay, you go through this. I got down to the very last one on one in Florida City, which is south end of Miami, way down south Miami, Florida City. And the toilet roll dispenser on one of the bathrooms was not installed. Okay, all right. He wouldn't sign off. The contractor was upset because he made him go down to Lowe's. He gets one, shoves it on, and he says, that's not the one you have in the bid. He made him go back down and get it and bring the exact one he had in the bid. This is important because this is where contractors will short you. You want a granite countertop, you want, well, what actually shows up, what hardware actually shows up is important.
Yeah, usually if you guys are going to do hard money, usually most of those hard money lenders, they'll do draws. So that's good. It kind of helps you get the project done. As in, if you want the draw for the next phase, then you got to take a picture of the floors that the contractor did. Mm-hmm. You'll take a picture, you'll text it to them, and then they'll give you money on the next one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. And then,
so I use funds control. I mean, everybody has.
yeah. If you use a good hard money lender, they usually record
They'll have their own fund control a lot of times.
Yeah, it helps
a lot.
a lot.
Of lenders will have their own funds control. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Wells Fargo uses, Who does Wells Fargo use? ProBuild. Okay? I mean, Fidelity owns them, so you get your review your cost, your money, you review your cost of everything, you analyze the deal, and if it makes sense, pull the trigger. Go. So let's look at a deal. Start with the AVR, ARV, after repair value, multiply whatever your end sales price is going to be by 92%. Anybody know why? Well, you got 6% for commissions and 2% for closing costs. Now, you don't always have to have 6%, but I'm in real estate to make money. I do all this to help my investors to make money. Even with my own deal, how I'm taking money out dictates my tax structure. You may have a better, I mean, you do a flip, there's capital gains. Your capital gains costs may be much higher than your income costs. So if I take part of that money out in income, I have a lower tax bracket. This is where you talk to CPAs and what you're doing. Okay? 92% lets me put my 6% on and 2% for closing costs. A lot of times 5% and 1% works, but I like a margin. I like having extra buffer in there. Okay? I subtract the acquisition cost, the construction cost, and the money cost. And if your profit is worth it, take the risk, pull the trigger. I'm going to show you one in a second. 322. What's the last two, by the way? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. Okay? That is the industry standard in America for a standard home. Anything below any one of those three, if it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, it is functionally obsolete. That's what they're called. If it's 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 2-car garage, it's functionally obsolete. If it's a carport or 1-car garage, it's considered functionally obsolete. There's huge money in the functionally obsolete houses because you get less per square foot than if you convert. So, you take that. Now I'm going to say an ARV. Get your calculators out. Somebody, get your calculator. Let's do this. ARV. You realized after analyzing this house that completely rehabbed houses in that neighborhood are $525,000. Okay? Awesome. I know that my rehab cost after my contractor, he says $43,000, we can have this shine. Awesome. I know that the timeline to complete the rehab, he says, I can get it done in 30 days. Well, I'm going to plan on 3 months. Okay? And then the time to sell, 3 months. So I got 6 months. Here's how you do your cost of your money. You take how many points. In this case, I'm using hard money. It's costing me 4 points and 10% interest only. So interest only means no balance. So I'm going to borrow the money. So I figure that 4 points on the total amount I'm going to borrow, which I didn't calculate here, and the interest for a total of 6 months, because from the time you start to the time you sell is 6 months, comes out to be $36,270. So at a $525,000 after repair value, my profit's $3,700. That's not worth it. But the deal looked pretty good from the beginning, huh? Until you start getting costs. So 2 things have to happen. Either that ARV must be higher or that cost must be lower. Take your pick. Or you move on to the deal, a different deal. So if you bought it for $360, how much profit would you have based on those numbers? If you could get it instead for $400, you get it for $360, you have extra $43,730. Is $40,000 worth it for a flip? I think I know a lot of people, if they can make that 40, they're happy, they're just coming. You turn 3 of those a year, you just made $120,000 in change. Okay? Maybe worth it, maybe not. But if you suddenly could have gotten, instead you find out that you made a mistake, and actually there are houses just like it, and they're selling for $565 to $570. Notice it went up, you're still making the same amount of money. This is how you analyze your deals. Okay, so I take my total costs, I take all the costs, I subtract all the costs off, I look at the profit. If it's worth the risk, pull the trigger. All that has to happen on this is have them tear out a wall to do something and find that you have to rebuild the house. and then your cost just went up to $143,000. You got the house, you bought it, you have the money, you're in debt for it, your lender is standing there, and suddenly there's a problem with that house. That margin is way too narrow, okay? So two things, either you get it for a better price or you're able to sell it for more. Here's the downside for most new people in flipping. Oh, you know, I could probably get 535, I might even get 540 for it, huh? Be hard on that number. That is, remember, where's your money made? In the buy, not the sale. When you buy it, yes, Randall?
Yeah, a lot of the flippers I know that do a really good job, they sell it for even a little bit less at the end because they're paying hard money on that money, so they need to get that money back to the lender. So they'll price it really competitively.
Yeah, we've got some great guys you can work with. Yes, Travis?
When you're doing your pro forma and you're putting your flip together, you be as optimistic as you want to be, right? When you're thinking about how much you're going to make on it, but always take what you think is a conservative number for selling it for, right? Like if it works, if you can make 20, 30, 40 grand, whatever,
Yeah.
and you're choosing a number that you think you're going to be well underpriced in the market, then you're safe. And you see one, you're like, oh, but I found this deal, it's a great opportunity. If you let it go and just go back to doing exactly what you just did to find that one, you're going to find another one, right? You just got to go back to digging again. And then be happy when you end up getting it for over what you thought you could have got. But every one that I've done where I stretched, I've done 15, let's say. Every one that I've ever done where we stretched what we thought we could get because we know the market so well has always burned us.
Yeah.
Whether it was a complete loss or just got out of it early to get our money back or whatever. But every time we've ever been conservative on the deal, it's always worked out. Like I've never gotten burned on anything where we're conservative.
If you want help analyzing it, there's a person sitting beside two of us, he's sitting right there.
By the way, you know who I use to, like, so I've got a guy that I do pretty much all these deals with, Joe, we do pretty much all these together. We're pretty good at this already, but the hard money guy that we use, when we do use hard money, and I've even gone to him on multiple times when I'm not using hard money on a deal or we're just gonna do it ourselves.
Speed.
I still run it by him because he has no emotions about it whatsoever. He's like, are you sure, man? I don't know, did you think about this? And when a hard money guy has no emotions or skin in the game, this is just about whether or not they're gonna get paid off within a year, that's a really good gauge for whether or not you think you're being too aggressive or not. Just, so get a good relationship with a hard money guy. Even if you're not ready to do the deals now, start talking to him, start running deals by him, go to lunch with them, go to coffee, get to know them so that when you call them, they'll give you that time.
Yeah. Brent, you gonna say something?
Well, I was just gonna say, there's so many factors into investing, but right now, timing, like right now we're going into the winter season, right? So it's probably not the best time to start on a flip right now, because once you get done, it's gonna be winter. And that's probably the lowest market for buyers to give you multiple bids. And then contractors, you know, sometimes they can't paint the house outside in the cold, right? So just kind of remember that timing and weather and seasons are important too,
Bonnie and I
when you
have
want to
an
start
issue
your
with that
flip.
right now. Condo we're selling, whole complex has been painted, and the weather changed. Just one building hasn't been painted. It looks old. Everything else looks new. They can't paint it. So we're going to shoot pictures. Where'd he go? Yeah, we're going to shoot pictures of some of the other buildings too, so we show what it looks like, right? It's got to do. So here's the thing. That's a good analyzation. If you want to do this, you guys really want to do this, come grab Rango and I. Okay? Yes.
Just a quick question, sorry if I'm slowing.
No, you're fine.
I'm having trouble doing my math on the iPhone to get 3,700. What did you? I'm trying to.
So I took the
down.
ARV and multiplied by 92%. That
Oh,
takes
okay.
that's what you're missing, right? Take the cost of the sale off,
Got it.
92%. And I apologize, I probably should have put that in there, I just tend to do it.
Okay.
Okay? Always multiply your end value by what your costs are gonna be. So 6% for listing, I know we can go less, especially if it's yours, stop it. 6% for listing, 2% for closing costs, 8%. Take it off the top,
Got it, yeah.
because that also gives you a buffer. Okay, guys, you're looking for buffers in here. What if they take 3 extra months?
Yeah.
Well, I guarantee that 10% keeps rolling. Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, so did that help?
No, yeah, that
Yep,
that
yeah. I was Scott pudding, guys. Yeah, let's go then. Holds. We're gonna jump to holds. Okay? You will need the following to hold real estate. This is your team, just like Cliff. A relationship with a great property management company unless you plan on managing it yourself. Anybody here want to get up at 2 in the morning to go fix a toilet? No? Get a property management company, and I'm gonna tell you something. 9.5 out of 10 property management companies are horrible. They're horrible. Finding good ones is tough, isn't it? And if you can find them, keep them, okay? You also have a relationship with a great general contractor who specializes in rehabbing properties, especially multifamily. You need a contractor that knows how to rehab multifamily. It actually costs less per square foot usually to rehab multifamily than it does single family, because you have so many shared walls and shared pieces, okay? But you gotta have somebody that knows what they're doing. This is your trust, your relationship. Get an engineer, solid understanding of the market, tight analyzation skills, speech opportunities, and great finance sources. This is your team, okay? If you're gonna go multifamily or you're gonna go single family holds, and each has a pro and a con, okay? That is your team. That all make sense? Not much different than the guys before, other than you need a good property management company and you need a contractor that specializes in multifamily. Okay? So, 2 main categories for real estate to hold for cash flow are multifamily apartment complexes and single-family residences. Now, any other type of real estate, like I said, can be done for hold. Okay? How about one of the best ROIs in the planet? Anybody know? Storage units. But I'm telling you, storage units make people money hand over foot. Oh my gosh. And I mean, what's the maintenance on a storage unit? A building? I mean, you know, we've got tin roofs and we've got no heating, a little electrical, no plumbing. You know, you got your bed on, you got a manager. I mean, come on, you get management companies running for you. Yeah, see how it lit up.
Information, but last time, my previous boss, he bought a storage.
Yeah.
But you know what happened?
Yeah.
For 1 month, the electricity bill is 10 times more than previous month.
Yeah.
Pay 1 month, the electricity bill is higher than 10 times higher than the previous month.
He didn't.
Can you help me with this?
Yeah, he didn't. He probably didn't check. Probably didn't do his research beforehand.
Yeah.
Why would the electric bill be 10 times higher? Do you know?
He didn't know.
Well, so before to buy something, you have to get records of all the utility bills too, for like, you know, two
That's
or
what
3
your
years.
due diligence.
Due diligence. And
Yep.
maybe
Yeah.
he missed something.
But right now, what he can do? How can he do? Nothing.
Yes, but look, real estate is like that. I don't care if it's
I don't know.
or a house. I don't care if it's the Empire State Building. You still have the basic due diligence, and if you don't do your due diligence,
Yeah, huge.
you will pay.
You will pay, period.
Yes, Travis?
So storage units
point,
are
though.
such a good source, are such a steady income earner, especially for people that want to hold real estate. A hard money group that I've been working with for a long time, they came to me like a year ago and said, if you ever have anybody that wants to do a storage unit, that wants to buy property and hold property, we'll finance the build of the storage unit with the purchase. And it's because the cash flow, so the math is there for, if we get X number of units, we know how much it's gonna cost, we know what the rental percentage is gonna be based on the area, based on the density in the area, but just keep that in mind. So buying and holding real estate, they'll finance, this group will finance the build of the storage unit into the purchase of the property.
Yeah.
Because they know what the return's gonna be. They won't, like, just like any other hard money deal, they won't do it if it doesn't make sense to them. Just keep in mind that it takes like a year and a half, 2 years.
It does.
To get it done, even if you start
That's
building. So, I live in Duval. For everybody's been out to Duval, it's growing a lot. And so we're doing a storage unit out in Duval right now. We did one we started working on it right after I got that phone call because I was excited. And we're still not done. We're still not even close. Like, we barely broke ground, and it's been a little over a year since we started.
Travis brought up a good point on storage units. Once you complete, if you build them, once you complete them, it will be 24 months before you will stabilize. So you've got to hold, you've got to be able to carry that before the now stabilization means basically in storage units, over 90% occupancy. Storage units in a lot of areas have zero occupancy and have for the last 15 years. I mean, zero. You know, they put it up, boom, rent it just like that. Storage units go fast because we're become a little more mobile and we've had the turnover and stuff. However, it takes, if you build it from
Break even
scratch,
on this
it's
one
18
is
to
only
24 months.
65% occupancy.
What's that?
The break even on this one is
Yeah.
65%
Yeah,
occupancy.
and they do, but you want it up. Remember, it's gonna take you a while to get this up. Once it stabilizes, oh, they're money made. They are just money makers. You wanna know another one that's a money maker?
Car washes?
Okay, the concentration of property values.
Bitcoin,
Okay.
Bitcoin.
Trailer parks. Trailer parks. Trailer parks, I have a friend of mine that's down in Portland that owns 9 trailer parks. It's something like over 1,000 total units. Okay? It just makes money hand over foot. It's not a business I necessarily like. Now, I have a client that's selling this subdivision and he specializes in trailer parks. We've talked a lot about it. You gotta know the business, but man, is it a moneymaker. However, it takes specialized knowledge. Now, for all of you, let's just start with apartment complexes. Okay? Let's start with apartment complexes.
Start with one rental.
From here. Let's talk about analyzing. There are some, for apartment complexes, there are some industry averages, okay? The industry averages for apartment complexes is 10% for property management, 10% for maintenance, 10% vacancy rate, and 10% for taxes and insurance. So your total cost annually should not exceed more than 40% of your income. Now, if it does, it means you've got a different apartment complex. Some apartment complexes, you get a D or a C, that maintenance side is gonna go way up and that vacancy rate's gonna go up probably too. Okay? But this is the general average. So if I take this, and I take that gross profit of 6%, 60%, and if that's what it happens to be, and then I look at my costs. Now, this is where we figure a cap rate. Once I know that 60%, my cap rate is, for example, if it's $100,000 in a year, and I have 60,000 left over, right? And that's my profit, then my apartment at a 6 capitalization rate, which is high for now, is $1 million. That $60,000 in income, net income annually makes that building at a 6 cap worth $1 million. Capitalization rate. Right now in this area, a lot of it's in the 5%, some of it's in the 4s. So that same 60,000 divided by 0.05 is $1.2 million. What's my actual income? And if you're buying them, what's my income for the last 3 years? Look at the trends. Is it going up, going down? Why? Are there big expenditures? You want to know these things. You're going through that. You're analyzing it. You look at that, then you average it out together for 3 years. You come up with your average, and you look at what you want for return. If you're an investor or you want 5% return, you can pay. If it was $60,000 and you're okay with getting 5% annually, a 5 cap, you could pay up to $1.2 million for that apartment complex. If you want a 6% return, you can't pay more than $1 million for that. Yes?
So is that 60K, is that gross? Or are you incorporating all this?
This is your net.
Net, so that's already taken
Yeah,
out?
that's the general cost in apartment. Now, mind you, it fluctuates. You have to look at each deal. But in an industry, across the board, this is what pretty much everybody runs by. And if it's higher in one section or another, or lower, you want to know why. Okay? Why? For example, one of it is management. A lot of times, Rango will own an apartment complex and he manages it himself, and so he keeps it really low and it makes the value look higher. I'm not going to run it myself. I'm going to pay somebody that 8 or 10%, so I have to offset those costs. Yes, sir?
Yeah, and if you guys are looking at apartment complex listings on the MLS or CBA, Commercial Brokers Association, don't believe what the listing broker says on there.
Ooh.
Because they're always trying to make that cap rate look good. So they'll leave out the property management and they'll put like maintenance like 2%. So just, you gotta run your own numbers, right? You gotta do your own research because it's for you or your client. But they gotta, if you get under contract, they gotta give you the rent rolls and all the statements of the bills and stuff, so then you can analyze all the numbers that way also, but do your own research. And if you are listing an apartment for a client, you know, you gotta make it look good, you gotta make sure that cap rate looks good, so you might, you know, put maintenance 2%, vacancy rate 2%, because you put 10%, it's gonna make that apartment look really bad. So it's like a little game we all play, but just do your own research.
We have this little condo group, right? Getting the expenses out of our buyer or seller has been brutal. Okay, so I just took what I know, what he's told me, analyzed it back. I end up with a 45% cost to 50% cost ratio. At 50% cost ratio, which is high, and every single broker that called me, first thing out of their mouth is, why are the expenses so high? Did they have a big, like a roof replacement or something? Why is it so high? And I said, well, in this case, because they're condos and not apartments, the HOA cost of $300 a month is paid out of the rent. So technically, their average is $1,300 a month for rent, which should be $1,450, but they're doing $13. Actually, technically, I only have $1,000 because the HOA pays. However, the HOA pays just about everything except power. So you factor in the other pieces, and what I came up with was a 45 to 50% cost ratio because of that, and why we're still trying to get it. And I've explained that. And you know what? All those brokers, oh, okay, that makes total sense now. Man, I was wondering why it was so high. I mean, what's wrong? Nothing, actually. In fact, it's in great shape. But those costs are there. And you have to be able to explain that and understand it. Again, you want to get into this? Come talk to us. We'll help you. This is what it's about. Okay? So that's basically how you're going to analyze your building. You got to know these costs. What's my management cost? Now, you can get management for less than 10%. But remember, a good property management company is brutal. A good property management company that can manage single-family properties for you is harder to find than one that can manage apartments. For some reason, each individual door being scattered all over the place, it is much more difficult for a good property management company to manage those than it's going to be to manage when there's 100 units within a little square block, right? Because you can have on-site management, there's a lot of things you can do. Little apartment complexes, you won't have on-site, but you'll have a manager that will work with it. You, unless you want to do this, want a property management company, and 10% is not unheard of by any means.
What's your criteria of a good property management company? How do you
walk back? Say it again.
How do you test whether, if you said 9 out of 10 is bad, how do you get that 1%? What did that have to pass in your eyes?
Wow. Good luck. No, I'm not kidding. You want to talk to me, you want to talk to Rango, you want to talk to Kent, or people who actually know people. You really want to find people who are having things managed. How is your property management company? Would you use them again? You want to talk to as many people. One of the ways to do this is to find non-owner occupied houses. Okay, non-owner occupied. Your title rep, where's my title? She's not here today. Title data can get you a list of them. People who don't live in their house, but they rent it out. And get their name, call them. Just say, hey, I'm looking it up. Introduce yourself and tell them I'm looking for a property management company. I notice you have a couple of rentals. Who manages your property?
Yelp and Google reviews are good.
Yeah, look up reviews. That's another good one. A lot of reviews, though, for property management companies tend to be the tenants, though. Now, the tenants will tell you the other side. How is it to deal with those people? However, certain areas are going to have harder tenants to deal with than other areas. They just are. Higher turnover, things like that. You're going to have to do some research, a lot of research. You may find a property management company that sounds really good and you start with them, and 3 months or 6 months down the road, you may have to move.
Yeah, you do not want to manage your own properties. It's so much work.
It is.
You got to screen the tenants, you got to get them in, then you become friends with them and you can't even raise the rent on them. And then they're late on the payment and then you can't kick them out because you're, just hire property management so you don't get emotionally involved.
Here is something
and the time
that might
involved.
help you. Ask them how many doors they currently manage. Okay?
Yeah, I got a story.
Anything less than 300
See what happened
doors,
was.
you can't make up money with less than 300 doors as a management company. You really can't. So I was the broker for a hedge fund that did a property management roll-up. And I learned quite a bit about it, and I don't want to do it. And I was only in it for 6 months, and they paid me well, and I got out, right? But what I learned is that for less than 300 doors, you really aren't making money. So if it's, oh, I got 100 doors, pay attention, because they're not making enough money to really do a good job. For example, if I tell my seller when I'm listing properties, you know, I sell X number of houses a year, the average broker sells 3. You can imagine a person selling, great people who only sell 3 a year probably don't have the revenue to put back into marketing as somebody who sells 100 plus, huh? And people go, yeah, I get that. So it's your house. Do you want someone that's got you want someone with, you get the point. Same thing with property managers. 300 doors is kind of a base minimum for where you're actually really starting to make some money. So that's, beyond that, good luck.
Thanks.
When
Referrals
you
are
find
good.
them, come tell us.
Referrals are good.
Okay? Guys, share the wealth. Share the wealth. Yes.
I got a question, because I have clients rent their house out. You are going to have trouble or anything?
You're doing it?
Yeah.
Talk to him.
Talk to me.
Okay.
Yep. Talk to him. Guys, if you're not going to do full-blown property management, don't touch it.
Yeah, you can help. Well, I can answer your question now. You can help them rent it out,
Yeah.
but after that, you're not gonna manage it monthly.
Yeah, I didn't manage. Just
Yeah.
if they have something that doesn't come
Well, there
back
has to be a property. Who's gonna manage it after you rent it out? The owner?
No, yeah, the owner. We charge the
Okay, then you.
money from the
Yeah.
tenant.
Then after that, you're done. Tell the owner, hey, once the tenant moves in, you're managing it. I'm done. I got them in. I screened them. I collected security deposit. I'm done. Let them know that,
Because you have to
You're
have
done.
a trust account. And you have to manage a trust account.
yeah, you don't want to manage it. You don't want to even open
And
a
that
trust account.
trust account is where 9 out of 10 brokers lose their licenses. Is mismanaging the trust
They
account.
start taking that
Prove.
that security deposit to the casino, and you can see how that could be a problem.
So talk to your
Let me
broker,
double the
okay?
security deposit for them.
Okay. Let's jump. Let's jump. Building and construction. Okay. This said development. We're not developing is taking a raw piece of ground. You know, Farmer Jones or Farmer whoever down the street there has got 50 acres. And I go to Farmer Jones and say, I'm going to develop the property, and I take it through the entire process of getting it mapped out and the subdivision laid out and papered. That's first level of development. 2 to 5 years, depending on where you're at. Okay, period. Then, the next level of development is getting off-sites and on-sites and all the stuff ready so the builder can build. That's the second phase. Well, a lot of capital and could be 1 to 3 years. So you can I know people that are literally selling, I know a guy right now that I'm looking at an 18 unit, he's permit ready, 18 units for townhomes, ready to go. It's taken him 15 years to get to this point. That's development. So we don't want development. We want to go vertical and sell that thing, okay? So you will need to build and construction a relationship with a great general contractor who specializes in new construction. This can also include the list of subcontractors if you want to manage it, but you better be a builder. You better know what you're doing, because if not, contractor's going to make that 10%, but I'm telling you, for me, let them make it. Let them make it. If you're good at construction, by the way, and you don't want to build, you can also do construction management, okay? You can, and make 10%, okay? So, good engineer architect who has experience permitting in the area you pick. Because sometimes you're going to buy things just short of permits. Other times you're going to buy them with it. Sometimes you have to get the permits, depending on what you're buying. Solid understanding of the market, tight analyzation skills, and great finance sources. It's all the same, okay, to build. It's a completely unique market. Now, I've been halfway decent in this. I don't build it all. I mean, I've been a general contractor. I know how. I hate it. Okay? Been a roofing contractor. I know how. I don't like it. I get other people do it. There's a broker in Raleigh, North Carolina that I know that started off as an engineer 20 years ago. And he specialized in getting little contractors all the stuff they need, financing to build more houses, help them find the lots, all those things. Okay, last year, his team did 992 sales, and 613 were new construction. Because he built up these contractors over 20 years from doing 5s and 10s to doing 50 to 100 at a time. And he's their total turnkey. They just walk in. Great, Nick, but you gotta know what you're doing. Yes?
Yeah, in my experience, general contracts are very important, but that architect, in my experience, was the quarterback of the whole
They're more
project.
important.
So just remember, to get a project going, an architect is so important, right? So just know that, because they have a little experience of everything. They're the glue that keeps the deal together. So if you have a project that you're like, hey, can we do 4 homes over there? They'll tell you if you can do 4 homes over here and how big those 4 homes can be. You know, if you have a good relationship with them, they'll do it for free. But if you don't, then they're going to charge you maybe $1,200 to do that feasibility for you if you don't have a relationship with them. Because it takes them a couple of days to find out. So just remember, an architect was so important for us. And man, there's some are so expensive, and some are like, you gotta tell them, hey, I'm not building the Taj Mahal here. I'm just building 4 townhouses. So charge me for 4 townhouses, because I'm not doing like a custom build where they gotta like draw their own house. Because some of them are really cheap where they have already plans drawn. They have a whole folder of like 10 or 20 models you can use. And you say, okay, I'll take that model, and I'll take this front of the house, I'll put it on this model, and we'll add another 500 square feet here to this already made model. It'll cost you a lot less than if they custom built like a home for you from the ground up. So just kind of remember that. Architect is so important on the deal. And the feasibility period up front.
I know a couple in there, he knows several, a lot of you may know some people. Honestly, share your people, help each other, share this, because I can't even begin to. This project down in Graham that we have Richmond American is buying, working through the contract, you know who's actually keeping the whole project together? The architect. He's going in there with them and their people, telling them what's been done exactly, what needs to be done. This general architect, land surveyor, engineering company in Pierce County has done something like 140,000 lots with Pierce County. They know everybody in the county and their kids. Great group too. Problem is he's 76 years old and he tried to die of cancer last year. But he's doing well right now, but he's keeping this project together. It's critical.
Yeah,
it really is. So let's talk about where to find some stuff. Because guys, if you really want to go into the building side, come talk to us. This takes a focus and a project. You can, if you do this right with your builders, you literally within a 2 to 5 year period of time when you have your spend can bring 500 homes per year to the market. All new construction, and you pick up all the buyers off it, you could build that company if you wanted to. But it's a lot of work and a lot of focus. So, the MLS, you go to vacant land search and you look for shovel-ready opportunities, don't you? And we found a bunch. Okay, I'll show you how to reverse this out. Anybody that wants to learn how to get a shovel-ready means this. They're telling you that they have this house designed and permits in hand or ready to pull the trigger. Just pay for and the permits come with the buy. So it's ready. Get your contractor to look at it, they give you the full bid, you know everything in it, it's ready to go. They usually want 15 to 20% more than it's really worth, so you have to kind of work with them on it, but they usually have a pretty good margin too. Okay? And then as long as your numbers work, okay, you can literally, right now in King County, there are over 20 permit-ready opportunities sitting there, right now.
Are those because, is that how they set them up to
A lot
sell?
of people do it this way. They get
Okay.
it right to that point and don't want to build.
Okay.
The most money in real estate is made taking Farmer Jones's property to paper. The next amount of money is from paper lot, the design approved by the county, to it's ready to go. Okay, so this is your big money, but it's also your biggest risk. This is your next biggest money. Construction doesn't make a whole lot. It makes some. They can make good money in it. But the real money's made in the development side. And so people develop right to that point. Yep, they don't want to build. I hate building. I'm not bad at it. I just don't like it. Okay? Another one, vacant land searches under vacant lots. And then vacant land searches under subdivisions. Get this. How many builders you know are looking for lots?
A lot.
Pierce County in the last 5 years has 17,000 less lots available than they did 5 years ago. And the demand has quadrupled in 5 years. Less building lots. Grant, what does that tell you? Huge market in Pierce County. King County, I forget what it is, Snohomish County, man, nobody can find lots. So if you're going to builders and you're working with them, oh, it's a great little market, great little niche. Especially if you tell them, hey, I'll do all this and get your finance down, and I get to have the resale. Oh, and I don't want to be your partner, Kent. I do all this, but I do not want to be your partner, normally a partner. So it's a 7% listing and do not blink. I'll give it to you turnkey. All I got to do is build it, sell it, you'll sell it, make money. I don't have to think of all the other pieces. You just, oh, I can do that. See what I'm saying? That's a niche, but it takes work, it takes experience. Okay, you can find those. Infill lots in neighborhoods. Anybody know what an infill lot is? Anybody been through a neighborhood, you live next door, and there's a vacant lot, been sitting there with the grass this high, it's been there for 20 years? The lot nobody finished. They never built on that lot. So you go into a neighborhood where there's infill lots sitting there that nobody, 10 years old, 5 years old, 20 years old, whatever, and since there are houses, it's really easy to permit. Really easy. In fact, the city would like it done. They would really like it done, because then they get a bigger tax revenue off it. They're really big on helping you. Sure, what do you need? Here's a permit. Oh, no, I need, okay, boom. They're really pushed to get these done. Infill lots are great, and you get that from title data. You can go to your title person and say, I want, in Bellevue, you want every vacant lot in Bellevue. And you hunt down the owners, and a lot of times these people that bought this stuff 5, 10, 15, 25 years ago, yeah, I got that lot up there, and you contact them. And you go to your builders, and then you help that builder walk through to get it permitted. You do all this work for them, so you get the purchase side, and then you get the resale side. Oh, and you get all the buyers that contact you off that sale. These are money makers. Raise and rebuild current homes with the values in the land. Okay, new construction takes a massive permitting. Rehab, not so much, less in a lot of cases. And usually, as long as a 90-degree angle on a building stays intact, like 6 feet and 6 feet of a building, it could be the internal for all you care. They consider it rehab, not new construction. So you can literally raise a house right to the ground, add square footage, and rebuild a custom house, and inside that house, buried in a wall, is a 90-degree angle that used to be the house. And under that circumstance, you're still remodeling. You're not building new construction. So valuing the land, wholesalers are another one. Wholesalers, there's a lot of good wholesalers out there. Wrangler's shaking us down.
Yeah, we should have put a big star by wholesalers, because if you want some really good deals for flip homes and development projects, wholesalers, they have the best. They're like, it's wholesale. You know, you're not going to retail, you're going to wholesale. So usually you get a lot better deal dealing with a wholesaler than you if it hits the MLS, for example.
My first wholesale deal I ever did was in Detroit. Yeah, I'm dealing with a guy up there on some other thing. This is back in 2011, and he says I have 100 homes for $3,000 a piece. I said, what? I'm thinking war zone. Okay. He said, dude, they're all boarded up, but they're all functional. Everything works. So we flew in. These are decent houses. They're older, but these were decent houses. What I didn't know about Detroit is there are entire swaths of the city that are no longer occupied. Like 30,000 houses, 50,000 houses. There's nobody there. There are not even homeless people there. Okay? Yeah. So I'm thinking, we checked them all out, checked some of them out. I'm thinking, wow. I guess I get on the plane. I called another guy that was doing this. He was buying bulks of property down in Indianapolis and Memphis. And I said, hey, I have this project up in Detroit for and it's for my investor. I said, for $5,000 a house. He said, how many you got? I said, 100. He says, have you seen them? I said, yeah, I'm getting on the plane. They're great houses. He said, I'll take it. Yeah.
You just made $2 grand.
And I'm a wholesaler. It's not me, it's somebody else's money and my investors, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's there's a couple good companies that wholesale out there. You can't still you got to do your due diligence
Yes.
when they give you something. Can't go by what they say because they always make it look nicer than it is. But what I'll do is I'll forward all you guys a wholesaler that always emails me stuff once a week, and then you guys kind of see the get a relationship with some. And also like there's like investment meetings throughout the week here in Bellevue,
Yes.
Seattle. You just show up and there's wholesalers everywhere
Yes,
there.
tons of them.
And they'll go up and say, hey, I have this deal hitting the market next week. I need this. My fee is $5,000-$10,000 in the middle, and I'll sell it to you for this.
Yeah.
And you know, you guys do your own analyzation, and they'll let you walk the property, go inside, and that's how you get in with wholesalers.
Just think of it, if Maria here has a house and she wants to sell it to you, and you don't want to buy it, and it's a good house at a good price, then you just add 10,000 to the price and call Rango and say, hey, Rango, I got this house for instead of 400,000, it's 410. Rango says, I'll take that. You just made your 10,000 wholesaling. And just like that.
then at
Now
that
that
point-
10,000 may eat up the profit. This is where you must do your due diligence. Okay, you've got to know what's there. But wholesalers, yeah, wholesalers are a great little business, yes.
And so Rango, so when people buy wholesales, they use hard money to purchase it, and they permit everything. How do you-
Usually,
So-
Usually you need hard money or cash, because they don't have time for like, 30 days feasibility, and then, they don't want to do no inspection. You're buying it as is.
As is,
Like
yeah.
they're not trying to play around. They're trying to close it in like a week or two. And just also remember, in real estate, it's how you can structure the deals in so many different ways, right? It's all about structuring the deal to make it work for both parties. So, for example, me and two partners, we bought 2 lots down on Alki, and we built 4 townhouses out there, right? It was 2 lots with 2 really old houses on there, was listed at 1.2 million. Well, we didn't have 1.2 million cash. That's a lot of money. So we came up with 600 grand cash, and we said, hey, why don't you own or finance the other 50% of it? So they're like, great. And we gave them like 10% interest rate. So we gave them 600, we closed the deal. The property's under our name on title now, but now the owner has a lien on it, and we're paying them 10% a month on 600,000 until we get up to the permit ready to build, right? And that took us about a year. And once we got the permit from the approval from the city, we got the loan from a bank, and then we got the construction loan from the bank, and we got the loan for 600,000 from the bank to pay back the owner, and now we own it free and clear, and that's how we structured it. So there's so many creative, fun ways to structure a deal in real estate. If you don't have it all, there's people that want to sell and just make it a win-win, and everybody can be happy at the end. So.
Most development, land development, is you don't buy the land. You might go to the farmer and you got your 100 acres and it's, I'm going to develop it. It's going to be a residential development. That's what it's going to do. It's going to be with that land. Here's 10,000 for the right to do all that. I'll pay you X plus 10% of the profit. Ken says, I'm farming it. How long will it take? I want out anyway. I'm about to retire. I'll have it done in 3 years. I got 3 years of farming. I start focusing out. That's how a lot of the development deals are done. Where I don't buy the land. I'm putting the money into the side, but you have it into an entity, you put it into an entity, you both have, there's a lot of structure to it, and we can help you with that. But that's, structuring the deals on this in construction is as much an art as it is anything, and it's really where a lot of money is made and how you get a lot of deals done. So, yes, sir.
Sorry for asking those
No,
questions.
you're good.
When you have these older homes that have these big lots, because, like certain parts in Kent, Covington, there's just a lot. Small house and then there's a big old lot. How do people break those up into, break it up to 3 houses on there?
Yeah.
Like,
My mom's neighborhood in Portland, my mom's got a little old house built in, 60, right? In great shape, everything. But the lots are half an acre. Every lot in the neighborhood is. Look at this. At this point, over 80% of the houses have now had a driveway built up one side of it and broken those lots into 2 additional lots. So they have the little house in the front and they're building houses behind it. And my mom was approached by it, by one of the developers doing it. And she's asked me what I do. So right now we're kind of going through the due diligence, but they buy it and they give them, it's a way for them to get in and build these extra houses. So there's a lot of stuff that we've done.
So then, is there Is there zoning that has to be?
Oh,
passed?
yeah. And that's where an architect would know.
Yes, that's who your architect comes in.
Can be built there and how big the lot's gotta be and that kind of stuff.
Yes,
Yeah, but so you would, like Kent Covington, there's a lot of, you gotta really look at the zoning, because there's a lot of
Huge.
places that you see the house with a big lot, but that might be like a zone as a R5 or whatever, where each house needs 5 acres.
R5,
So you
yeah,
can't even
one house per
subdivide it.
five.
But in order to do it, and the zoning matches, you just hire like an engineering company to do like a feasibility study, and then they figure out how many lots they could get, and then they'll do all the engineering and drawings to get it sharp platted.
The other thing you can do is find your engineer and talk to them about the type of zoning that's easily converted or that you can do niche, because there's niches even in zoning. You won't realize you can do something in this particular type of zoning. Find those out and then go back to your title person and find every single piece of property zoned for that.
Yeah, here's one tip is look at the realist tax ID on it, and it would say SFR like 5,000. What that means is each home that is on that lot has to have a 5,000 square feet lot. Some would say 7,500. So that means each home on that lot has to have 7,500 to build another home or have 2 homes. And some will say 1 acre, so you can't
Some
even
of them are
build.
5 acres.
Lot
Yeah,
size,
some will
lot
say
size.
it's on the tax ID. So you
But for
gotta-
the lot size.
for the lot size
For
of
lot
each
size.
home needs to have. Yeah.
That's where your architect engineer comes in.
Yeah.
So,
Can you
yes,
call
ma'am.
the city and just give them the address and they'll
Yeah,
tell you
yeah.
how many?
They're super
are
helpful.
there?
Yeah, you go to
Instead of
them.
having to pay an engineer to figure that out, just call us. I always just send my buyers over there, go to the city.
Yeah, you
and
show up,
ask
or you
them.
could call them and say, "Here's the tax ID. What can I build on here? What's the parameters?"
Is that like the free, is that like the free route?
Guys,
Free. That's
That
free.
doesn't
But
cost anything.
there's more to that, because you would have to look, like if there's wetlands, so you gotta take
Yeah,
a
now
whole
you
bunch
There's
of
gonna be
other
more
things.
hoops. You gotta-
Calling,
yeah, it'd be
by the way,
first step,
calling
but there's a
is
lot
is the
of
most
things, yeah.
easiest
No,
from
you
an
can't build.
effective time point of view, but I'm gonna tell you, if you really wanna know what's going on, walk in the door.
Yeah, because I twice, 2 different days, and they got 2 different answers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they got
So-
2 different people.
I gotta stop everybody for a second. I got one last group and we have to be done in 60 seconds. Okay? I'm trying to stay on time. Okay?
We got lunch. We got lunch for you guys too.
We can answer all these questions
Big
afterwards. The last one is builders. Listen to this. Builders need investment into their projects. There's a lot of builders that have stuff that they can't get. A lot of builders who would love to build another 10 homes or have these projects that don't have the financing. So you start matching investors with builders, okay, and you as the real estate component. Okay, I go into Monty, and he's building 10 homes a year, and he's, because of his credit or his background, whatever it is, he's tapped out his resources. And I say, Monty, I'm gonna bring investors in, they're gonna partner with you and help you build another 10 homes, and we'll do all the work on it. You can keep everything you're doing over here, but we'll help you grow another 10. You know other, and he's like, man, I know projects, I could go left and right if I had the capital. So builders are a great niche to work with, especially the people doing 5 to 25 homes a year. Somewhere in that range, 10 homes to 25 homes a year. Great niche, because they'll have projects, they'll know, man, if I could just get financing for this, I could do this. So who's that? That is your partner. That is you find investors, or you find finance structures, ability to structure finance, okay? And you help them build those extra homes, and you get the resale, you get the purchase. You might even get a percentage of the deal if you structure it right.
Yeah, cool thing about building is they do it in phases. So let's say they buy a lot and there's 10 homes there. Well, they'll do phase 1 where they'll build the 2 houses first, and they'll make the profit from it, and then they'll fund the second phase, which is the next 2 houses.
Yeah.
So you don't need money for all 10 houses up front.
Right. Yep. So builders are a great niche. They're a great niche. Okay? As far as that. So, I know you have lots of questions. You have that dazed, glazed look on your life, and right now,
We got honey.
Sam is bringing in food of some sort.
We got honey glazed ham, which is like delicious. It's not normal ham from Safeway. This is like honey, that company here in Bellevue.
Oh yeah,
Super.
I'm
Oh, and another thing, right? Remember this Friday, we're doing the new document processing. So starting this Friday, you're gonna,
Right, this is critical.
you guys aren't gonna be emailing in documents to documents at Century WP anymore. You're gonna upload it to SkySlope. And we got a training on it next Wednesday here at 10:30. It's
Come to
really
this training.
simple.
This will make your life very easy.
If you have any questions about uploading documents and you don't have a password yet, Samantha and I and Ronnie can help you. So remember, Sky Slope, starting this Friday, we're gonna.
That is your document. You're no longer going to be uploading everything into documents at centurywp.com. You have a full-blown, really cool document management program, SkySlope.
Yep.
See everything, track everything, upload it quickly. It's simple.
I'll have all your paperwork in one place.
Everything.
Work on 5-10 deals at
Yep,
one time.
Right in front of you. You can pull it up and see.
All right, everybody give Ronnie a hand.
Hey.